What's up, everybody? It's Jeffrey Lyles welcoming you to another edition of Lyles Movie Files. Joining me, as always, is little brother Jayce. Bro Shot, how are you today?
I'm doing good. There we go. Yeah, we'll figure it out.
Yeah, you figure it out.
It's camera's too close. Can't do that.
Well, today is a momentous day, and we're going to watch the Flash episode tonight with Green Arrow showing back up. I really don't care what brought Stephen Amell or Diggle back. Don't care. I'm just hoping that this can be the good episode of Flash this season. What say you?
Okay. You scared me when you said the good episode. I'm hoping this is the good final arc of the Flash. I don't want this to be one episode because that's probably going to be the last episode of Flash I'm going to care about. I saw a little bit of a preview and I'm like, okay, there's a good character coming back with, Stephen Amell. That's good. But if that's the last of it, I'm like, well, thanks, Flash. Thanks, Arrow, for introducing us. But this is the end of the ride. Peace out, homie.
Kill boys to men. So that's that version of the Flash. But earlier this week, you got the second trailer for The Flash, the movie, starring Ezra Millers and Michael Keaton and a plethora of others, including Ben Affleck for maybe 30 seconds of the movie. My question to you is, CinemaCon is going on or started a couple days ago, and Flash was premiered there. Early ravings are one of the best comic book movies ever. Now, I feel like with every comic book movie, there's somebody that's going, this is the best comic book movie ever. I mean, you saw the reaction quotes for Eternals, one of the greatest Marvel movies of all time, from Shang-Chi, Black Widow, everything is one of the best films ever. Best since Endgame. I guess that's the barometer for all Marvel movies going forward. I feel like No Way Home was pretty much the last great Marvel movie. Black Panther Wakanda Forever was pretty good. Again, I still wish they just recast T'Challa, but that was pretty good. I like Shang-Chi, but some of the others are kind of like, and I really wish we'd had Black Widow earlier than we got it.
Right.
So this poses a bit of a dilemma because if The Flash is indeed one of the best all-time comic book movies, what does that mean?
Okay. For the person who says this is one of the best comic book movies of all time, I'd ask you what's number two. And that tells me a whole lot.
Well, it said one. It didn't say it was.
Okay. Then, give me your. If you say it's one of your top best,
go Chris Rock. What's your top five?
Yeah, give me your top five, and that'll tell me everything. If you put Eternals or Iron Man 3 in it, yeah, okay, I don't need to talk to you anymore. Your opinion means absolutely jack to me. But if you say, all right, it's better than Endgame, it's better than No Way Home, it really is emotional, like was it Infinity Wars? Like, okay, like you.
I have to stop you real fast. I don't know what happened, but I was like, you know what? Oh, I think what it was I saw the Flash trailer and I was like, that was pretty decent. But you know what? This is making me want to see an epic trailer. And there's some that you kind of watch and it's like, oh, that was really cool. I want to see the movie. Then there's some that's just like, it puts you right back to the first time you saw that trailer and how incredibly hyped up you were. That was me watching the Infinity War trailer about 7 times through Monday. So it's the thrill hasn't gone for me from that. And get this man a shield puts the goosebumps that I didn't even know were still around just pop right back up. And seeing Chadwick Boseman on the screen was like, oh, this is so great. Seeing him in his big signature role, getting everybody, rallying the troops, going, just getting everything ready. I'm like, dude, this is it. And then Thanos going, having fun isn't something I consider when conquering the galaxy, whatever he's saying. But this does put a smile on my face right before he knocks the mess out of Iron Man. It's like, dude, this is an awesome, awesome trailer. And then watching the big fake out scene with Hulk running with Cap, Falcon, War Machine, Black Widow. I'm still like, still a little mad at y'all for that because that scene
that would have been better.
Was so hype. Just seeing them in slow motion doing the run, I was like, oh, this is going to be on. And I was like, you know what? While I'm here, I'll go to the Endgame trailer. Kept that going on in loop a few times. And that one is the chill trailer. because we owe it to everyone who's not in this room. We will. Whatever it takes. Whatever it takes. Whatever it takes. Doo-doo.
Yeah.
So I'm like, it's time for me to burn through the MCU one more time so I can just get to Infinity War and Endgame. And no, yo.
That's not the problem. I think, and this is funny, I like looking at that Flash trailer, I was like, at least you're giving me a story. Like, I think a lot of the new ones are giving no story. This one's like, okay, why am I invested? Why do I want to watch? Why do I want to pay my $40 to come in this store, in this movie? And it's like, okay, you give me that. Of course, you give me Ezra Miller. And I still think it's like, I know they put this on the schedule, but it's like, if you were going to kill their universe, this is the last movie. Anything else, you're like reminding me why I don't want to watch this. It's like, it's going nowhere. And I was like, also, I mean, like we, on our cable station, they have like, oh, you can watch, Shazam 2, Fury of the Gods. And I'm like, I really would have watched this movie. I mean, it's like, I would have if this movie had come out before that stupid announcement. I would have had no problem. I would have watched it. I'd have gone and seen it in the theater probably once, and I'd already had it on Blu-ray. But since then, it's like, I'm really good on giving DC money. Like, even if you can tell, oh man, this is going to restore your faith in DC. So what? It's done. Like, it's over. Like, nothing in this. The only thing that's going to happen is all these people you care about getting recast. Next movie you're actually going to see about Superman, 2025. Like, it's just like all of those things. It's just like, I just can't.
Yeah, you love seeing Michael Keaton back as Batman? Well, enjoy it now because you're not going to see him again. It's so weird.
Yeah, because it was like when they even kind of were talking about that years ago, I was like, man, y'all going to get rid of Ben Affleck and make Michael Keaton Batman? Well, okay, but we'll see where you go. You put him in. He's going to be in, what was it? Bad Girl. There's going to probably be in a Supergirl. It's like, okay. But now you're like, nope, he's not going to be anywhere. He's going to be this movie, and you're going to enjoy it. Let's go. You want to get nuts? Let's get nuts. And he actually says it right, at least, for him versus whatever they tried to do in Flash, which was hideous. But it was like,
wait a second. I need to wipe
that pen's not working. That's not the right pen. But it was like, oh, I would really put money to this, but I'm not putting money to DC. And it's like, no, I can't do it.
The trailer looks really good. And I read this cool tidbit. Michael Shannon actually hit up Zack Snyder and was like, hey, man, what do you think? Is it cool for me to show up in this movie? Like, it seems everyone that worked with Zack Snyder on these films loved the experience and loved working with him. It seems like the only ones who didn't love working with Zack Snyder were the higher ups on WB. But it's
the ones who were fired now anyway. So it's the dumbest dang thing. It's like, oh, he's difficult. Like, he would actually make you guys a good movie, and you guys would still be in the comic book movies, not rebooting 10 years after you started. If you would actually let him write, I mean, you could have maybe edited 15 minutes out of Dawn of Justice. But you took all the plot out. And then, well, why does everyone hate it? Because you didn't give them a plot. You just gave them a bunch of big guys. Every bad stereotype about superhero movies, you gave it to them. And it was like, oh, well, why didn't the critics love? Because critics don't like to just see a bunch of action and CGI. You give them a little plot, then they would, well, it ain't that bad. It's not Citizen Kane, but I'll take it. Like, you could have given them that. But you gave them nothing, and then they trashed it, and then audiences who probably would have came in also were like, well, they're kind of right. And then, you give them Justice League, the Josh Whedon crap. And everyone's like,
I feel like this needs a Robin.
Like, you gave them nothing, and then like, wow, I don't understand why this is working. We tried to give them Marvel. It's like, did you? Because that wasn't Marvel. That was
yeah. It's so interesting because I feel like with the buzz of Flash right now, and I know there's another month before we see it in theaters, but if that continues and there's an actual excitement, what does WB Warner Brothers do? Because if you have a Infinity War, if you have a Black Panther, if you have a Civil War, if you have an Endgame, if you have a No Way Home, you follow it up and you go, cool, here's the next roadmap on this great journey we're taking you on. Like, I imagine if George Lucas was like, I'm good with Star Wars Episode 4, nothing else. And people are like, hey, dude, can we get some more of this?
Well, let's say it's at least 4. 4 is our most encapsulated movie. Death Star's blown up. We don't know where Darth Vader is, but if that's all you want to give us, we would have been, I think, that would have been cool. None of the other ones worked like that.
No, absolutely not.
I mean,
maybe Rogue One.
With this one, it's like we are used to our action kind of superhero action movies having that sequel, keeping us on the journey with that character, and going basically, hey, the journey's it. This is it. Like, there's no connected, and that was always the biggest problem with DC. It was like, your connected universe doesn't make sense. And I think James Gunn and Peter Safran are like, hey, we are going to make a connected universe. And you're like, we appreciate that. But you don't have to take it to the ground. You could probably just work around some of these legacy issues and work from there. But, well, we want to cast a younger Superman. Do we want to go on a ride with a younger Superman? I don't know if we do. Like, do you want to take, we're going to give you Batman and Robin. Oh, that's cool. We're cool to get a Robin. But couldn't you have just given us Robin with Ben Affleck? And we'd have been cool. Like, him having that Bruce Wayne having Talia's kid totally gets popped up on him. I totally buy.
I like those shoes.
I guess there was one too many martinis. Like, come on. Like, I totally buy that. Like, Gal Gadot, like, she pops up in Shazam. Oh, yeah, guess what? That's the last time you're going to see her. It's like,
yeah, it's so weird because it's like, if you actually served up a great movie, and it must be a really strong movie because they could have just killed it and wiped their hands clean of it and said, hey, this is going off to shuttle into HBO Max or Max, and we're all happy now. And instead, they're just going to create a bigger problem because if audiences don't do what they did with Shazam, Fear of the Gods, and go, let's see this. I want to see Michael Keaton. I want to see all these surprise cameos they're talking about. If they come, the movie makes, let's just say, $1 billion if it's a huge hit, like Joker or the Batman. What are they going to do? Because we know they can't pivot quickly. They take 4 years to make big pronouncements and show up on anything where they say this is coming. You're just going to have to wait a long time before that. At best, maybe 3 years. But this is going to need some major response, some reaction. Are they going to go, okay, those plans to cast this anonymous Batman, we're going to switch and go with Michael Keaton, or we're going to go with Ben Affleck, or throwing out Christian Bale? I really need them to think this through a little bit more, as opposed to this is a plan and we're locked into it. And if Flash just so happens to be a good movie, well, awesome, great. Thank you, everybody. Have a good night.
Let's see, that was their problem with Shazam. It was like Shazam would have had more staying power if as Zach Levi said, Zack Snyder hadn't stayed home. But it's like we were boycotting any DC movie. It's like, it's not your movie. It's all DC. We're just not giving any money. So then if this one somehow breaks through, like, yo, no, this is really good, we may, okay, well, I guess I could see it. And then, like I said, if it does get through, you won't have that second week slump because there might not be that competition, like, depending on when Fast 10 comes out. It's like, oh, wow, this is actually a good movie. And then you're like you said, it's $1 billion. And you decided to make, what was that, the Batman 2, which should not have gotten a sequel, but it made $1 billion. So you decided to make a sequel. This one, if it does make $1 billion, or like, let's say 750 million, you have to, it's like the boardroom is going to be like, do we just throw this away? Or like, I know we don't, we have new dudes who are supposedly in the comic book business. What do they say we have to do?
Like, so Fast X is coming out May 19th and Flash is coming June 16th. So no issue whatsoever with that.
Okay, so
maybe by that point,
a month basically.
Yeah. But I'm sure there's going to be other movies coming out in June. but maybe the Flash is going to be the big movie, and maybe it's going to be the movie of the summer. There's not, I guess Guardians comes out May 4th, May 3rd. It says,
yeah, it's coming to you first.
May 5th. So if anything, Dom and the family are going to take that out. But I'm just like, man, I'm really very curious about this now, because if this is a hit, if this becomes the massive DC event, the movie that DC has been clamoring for all this time, that Warner Brothers has been waiting on, that's within some sort of contained, cohesive, connected universe. The kids just say that's the end.
But here's the other thing. This movie's already been made. It wasn't like this was a movie's a secret. This movie was made 2 years ago. You could have literally looked at it and be like, yo, let's leak a trailer or a 30-minute clip of this and see what our test guys audience thinks. And if it's good, maybe we don't need to scrap all these plans. Maybe we could just, all right, let's come up with some movies, come up with it. I mean, get the same guys and be like, hey, we want you to do it, but keep this going, because this probably is going to work for us. Like, you take whatever team you need, but just continue. Even if you don't continue the Snyderverse, keep these characters, make better stories, make this more cohesive, get rid of this Joker Elseworld when it counts and when it doesn't count. Only the day will know. I mean, only, the audience will know, but then they'll be confused and we'll say it's all confusing and then scrap it again. Like,
speaking of confusing, I just wish Warner Brothers just decided to go, you know what? It doesn't even matter. We got a multiverse. We're going to release the James Gunn, Peter Safran films right alongside the Zack Snyder films that we're going to let continue because y'all demanded it, y'all clamored for it, and let the best version of the franchise win. Honestly, if they did that, I think fans of the Zack Snyderverse would be like, cool, well, okay, we'll try out both. But I think they're going to lose out on some of these Zack Snyder fans, kind of like a WCW, WWE thing, where when WCW got bought out by WWE, so many of the WCW fans just vanished, never to return to wrestling and watching wrestling again. And the WWE had to be like, hey, look, we're doing so well with our smaller audience. It's now our new norm. Instead of the highs that we had during the Monday Night Wars when people were flipping back and forth between the two stations.
When both stations were pulling in combined like an 8.0. Now you get one.
In some cases, 10.
Yeah, it's like, now we got a 2. Yay!
Yes.
Well, we got better advertising dollars. Yeah, but the advertising dollars don't give you as much.
Their whole thing with WWE is so fun right now. But yeah, I think that would have been a solution that would have made everybody happy, because they're already not caring about continuity. And like, we don't care if you're confused about this Batman and this Joker and this Batman and this Harley Quinn. It doesn't matter. You already started this path. So just go with it. And if Shazam had done well at the box office, if it had made close to $1 billion, or if it just made like, 800 million, they would have continued on with his adventures into this new universe. So it's not like they haven't said, hey, this is the end of everything. But I think there's an avenue for them to just do both and have everybody be happy, or as happy as people online can be. Are you getting an email from James Gunn?
No. He still hasn't. He said, Gunn was like, shut up, guys. You guys don't know what you're talking about.
James Gunn will respond to people on Twitter. I mean, people are asking him about
milestones. He is actually nice. He's not like, he's not going to troll you. He's like, you ask a respectful question.
He'll respectfully answer. People ask, are there going to be milestone characters involved in these movies? He said yes. So Static, Hardware, Icon, Rocket, maybe even the Blood Syndicate are going to show up in these movies eventually in some capacity. That's exciting.
I mean, that's a good step. I mean, like I said, I don't think. I know this is like, I do not hate the idea of a multiverse. I think Marvel is very much like, hey, we got a multiverse. Like, all the stuff happened. We made $1 billion on, and you know what? We don't mind Sony coming up with Craven that we might take it too. We might put him in Secret Wars. Like, make what you want. Everybody, there's enough money for everybody to win. Like, and if you say, oh, well, like, oh, you couldn't finance a Zack Snyder universe and a Peter Safran, James Gunn universe. Like, You know what finances those? Money. You can get the audience to finance it. Like, you don't have to like come out of your pocket and not get a return on investment. Like, again, Shazam would have made money if you didn't tell us it was getting canceled.
Like, if you didn't tell us it didn't matter, it would have made money.
I mean,
but because they did that, it was like the mall putting the gates down. I know back in the day when people would go to malls, store closing 30 days from now. They're like, well, I'm not gonna be here in the last 5 days where nothing's left in the store. Thanks.
Yeah, it's like, I mean, but yours is like the perfect part, but like the last 5 days versus, hey, we may be going through bankruptcy. You want to come in? Yeah, I guess I can. Let me at least look around here. See if y'all
I'll get everything when it's 10% off.
It's like 10%. Like, I can check y'all out like it's a regular random sale, but when you tell us it's everything must go, everyth's already gone. Like,
exactly.
Okay. Like,
including your goodwill.
Would you like this light we use in Shazam too? No, I'm good. Thanks. I got no room for it. Thanks.
What about an authentic lightning bolt? Maybe.
I mean, like,
find a space.
Oh, we got some Black Adam merchandise. You mean the one you're not going to make a sequel to? Yeah. Okay. Like,
yeah, I think they fumbled so much, and I don't think the Flash is going to solve anything or fix any problems because it's just going to create more questions. Ezra Miller was so amazing. Let's nominate him for an Oscar. But what are we going to do there? So it's so many potential disaster points for this to hit, and we're not going to have Barry Allen, Ezra Miller, or Grant Gustin go back in time and reverse everything.
Well, Grant, it sounds like he's hanging it up. I think it's probably Grant's time is done because they've destroyed that TV show Flash. I'm pretty sure he's quite happy. He's like, that was another part of my life. I'm glad the paychecks are going to come in from Netflix, but I'm good.
In the convention circuit, he is going to be on a run Barry run. They've run Barry to the ground here. It's just so bad, and yeah.
Yes.
Let's talk. So we're still talking about DC because I want to jump into Marvel real fast. Superman and Lois. I didn't watch yesterday's episode, but I have to say, this past 2 weeks ago episode of Superman and Lois is amazing, and I feel like this show is really going on a tight wire this season. It's a tight wire act where they are tight rope act where they are managing to stay balanced, even though they've got goofy teen subplot after another. This previous episode, Head On, was so good. I was like, oh, okay, Superman's getting into a fight. Okay, if you need to. But I thought the storylines all hit, with the exception of Lana, because they don't know what to do with Lana anymore. And I don't know what the issue was with just making Lana be the mayor. Like, that was a great direction to take her in. And they were like, well, let's also give her a divorce too. Because then it created this melodrama that she and her family didn't need. And it's made every character in there more interesting in her family than her. And one episode that I really want to see is just a bottle episode with Sophie's babysitter, who is clearly a metahuman, who has these amazing superpowers. It's just taking Sophie on these wild, lavish adventures every time that Lana and Kyle forget they have a second daughter. Because that's what I want to watch.
Yeah, I mean, like, it's funny, like, because I see like a comic book where all the world is going crazy, but it's literally just like, hey, Sophie, what would you like to do? It's like all the people are blurping out, going to other random worlds. The babysitter's just, there's no fire behind me. Everything's working fine. It's just like, I mean, just like almost like the end of the episode. Like, was she in any trouble? Not at all.
Exactly. Then they just lean back into the couch and wink.
Like, just like
that's the end of that episode.
Like, that would be a funny episode if you want after having a real serious episode some point in this year. Just throw that out. That's the one you need to do.
I'm giving that one to you guys.
Yeah, but that last episode, I really liked how Clark was. It was like he was actually being the reporter. It was so weird because it's like him being a straight up reporter is really good because he's empathizing with the people. He's trying to understand what they're doing. Like he was actually doing this for a newspaper, like going to make a story about these. Like, yeah, that's actually gives him a lot more depth. I mean, weirdly enough, than just being dad and husband. He's like, yo, I actually have a day job and I'm Superman, which I'll get to this fight scene. But Don't worry about that. You know what's in the back. It's coming. This could be almost our cheap episode, but you're gonna be like, yeah, there was a lot of drama. There was a lot of emotion in it that was really cool. I didn't. You like the teen drama a little more than I did. I was just like, oh my gosh, seriously? Give me Superman. I mean, Clark and Lois, and they can't talking to the cancer. I don't care about whatever Nat's dude at all.
Okay, so let me explain this here. I feel like they've done Nat such a disservice. She's been an incredibly unlikable character. She's always talking down and just being crappy to John Henry, dismissive of way too many adults, and she knows it all and she's better than everybody.
Hey Jeff, she's a teenager.
Yeah, but she's really bad as a teenager.
She's at least a smart teenager, which I'll give her 2 seconds of that.
Which makes it worse because then she really does know it all. And I think they finally figured out that it's okay to have a character who's flawless to have some flaws. Like this one introduced, hey, I feel like I'm behind everybody because I haven't been dating. That makes her relatable and likable because she doesn't know everything about dating. And Spencer, my guy Chris from All American, is just fine as a boyfriend is going to show her the ropes and make her comfortable with dating. And they actually have given her a human connection that's not her dad and General Lane. And Sam was really funny in this stalking outside the windows, peering the drapes back. Mm-hmm. He needed something to do outside of, hey, Clark, I don't like the way this is going down. Or telling Jordan to get a haircut, you hippie. And that was great.
But, I was like, he's right.
Yeah. Like Sam has become one of the best supporting characters on the show. And this interaction with Nat is great. When she hugged him and said grandpa and wasn't, it was just like a reflex. Mm-hmm. Normally I'd be like, technically he's not your grandfather, but I didn't care because I thought they did it really nice. And if they can keep Nat with him as opposed to John Henry and showing him up, and I don't like that in the comic either because I feel like Steel was an original Black superhero. Mm-hmm. And we don't have too many of them. And then going, well, his niece can do that same thing too. It's like, you just taking away what made John Henry special. Yeah. Anyway, that small rant over. I really like her with General Lane. I like General Lane with Jordan. Sam's a good character. And I like that he's doing something with the teenagers as opposed to just treating them like know-it-all, perfect, amazing teens.
Yeah. What do you think about Jonathan?
I'm about to get into John now.
Like you can't. Now you're going to glowing review. No.
So
I'm not letting that slide.
I'm not. That's why I put my score the way I gave it. So these the teen romance suck. I mean, they don't know what to do. It's like, let's make all this drama about them getting together. Now they're together, and now we're gonna break them up. And maybe that's true of teen life, but on this show that's titled Superman and Lois, it makes no sense to spend so much time on teen relationships because we know they're not going to last. And I don't care if they last or not. I want to see Superman doing cool stuff. I want to see Clark Kent and Lois investigating some things and cracking some crime case or writing a feel-good story. I don't care if Jordan or Jonathan goes up to a party with his ex-girlfriend. She gives him a watch, and then he's all nervous about telling his girlfriend whose daddy happens to be a bully and then punches him and steals his car. And then after his girlfriend moves in with the Kent family for a week or 3 weeks in their TV time, then her aunt's like, oh, I'm sorry, I totally forgot. I was babysitting Sophie. And now that I'm back, you can come live with me. And this is going to be a long distance thing, of course, because why make it easy? And
there's 2 more weeks of episodes of this character before she goes on to the new show she's actually auditioning for in the CW.
I understand. I understand the CW. I know them. But yeah, it's just like, why do I need that ride with John and Candace if this is the end point? I mean, you guys needed to know this stuff before you make us sort of invested in her. Because I don't care. And she seems super sweet and nice. And Jordan was being an ultimate hater. She's using up all the hot water. You have heat vision. That's not an issue, dude.
I kind of was like, okay, that's like, hey, this is like a sister in there. Again,
they just had Nat in the house. Nat was using hot water, I'm sure.
But it's like, this is your brother's girlfriend versus a girl who has nothing in this world. Like,
Candace's father is a deadbeat who ran off and stole her boyfriend's car. She literally has nothing.
Okay. You don't want to be putting in like all truthfully.
Jordan was being such a little turd on that. I was like, what is this with Jordan?
Because
not a jealous
dude. On some aspect, you can't have this dude just being the. I don't know what the heck Jordan is. It's like he fluctuates from superhero dude to awkward teen. I can't, and it's like you kind of can use that. You can meld the two of those a little better than you do. I know you're saying you're awkward, but you're a super dude, and you ain't got to have all those insecurities. If somebody messes you, you just casually throw them through a wall. Like, oh shoot, did I do that?
Well, like, just use a little super breath to trip them up. I mean, it doesn't have to be that violent. Just a little, or melt their shoes with a little heat vision. There's all kinds of things that Jordan could do as a uncomfortable around people person.
Yeah, it's like, I mean, you could do. It's like, what is it? I never can figure out if they know about other characters or what, but it's like this is how you could basically be pulling your own version of Spider-Man. Like, oh, word, I'm gonna learn how to do this and get comfortable around people by just having my outlet to do it.
No, that's the Flash that references Marvel characters more than they do DC in Star Wars.
Who's Batman? But I know, I know what Captain America would do.
Yeah, it's so odd. It's so weird and bizarre from them.
It's almost like we don't want to trip over our own shoes, but we're willing to trip over this log right here.
Yeah. So we have Kyle who kind of randomly runs into John and like, hey, you want to gig over at the fire department? I'll show you the ropes. And then John, who's never exhibited any interest in the fire department whatsoever, yeah, that'd be great. And then it's like, well, you got to choose between this job that you've never shown any interest in or your girlfriend. I know which one I would choose if I was John.
I know what every 16-year-old dude would do. I mean, I just like, there's not that 1%, you know what? Girlfriend or random after school gig. I think I'm super nice. There's not that, there isn't that dude. Just no, it's not, it doesn't exist. Like, he can be like, well, I see my brother and my father doing all this good for the world, so I'm gonna do it. Like, he has to say that out of his mouth. He's like, hey, because nobody's pushing me. Hey, I had football that was taken away from me. That was cool because you guys decided I didn't need to play football, and now we just want to add Kyle into another subplot. Like, seriously, I don't care about him. Like, you guys are not gonna make Kyle and Lana fetch for me. No, just get over it.
I'm totally on board with Kyle and Chrissy now because Kyle is a likable character. They took the season 1 Kyle and evolved him into a nice, cool guy, and they tried to make us not care about it with that season 2 terrible storyline, but it didn't work. It didn't take. I'm like, Kyle's cool. Lana's tripping, and she's hanging out over his head for a long time, and Kyle is just trying to be a good dad. Would be a good husband if she were just like, all right, whatever, dude.
Like seriously on that regard. It's like, the affair happened years ago. You were over it. And now you found out who it was. There aren't that many daggone women in that age bracket in Smallville. By a process of elimination, you should have probably been like, I think I know who it is. Who probably looks like me or somebody? It's Chrissy. No, it's not. You know who it is. So you should, well, now that I know who it is, I'm really upset. Did that really hurt you that much? Like, couldn't we go to counseling off that? I think we can do that. Like, we pushed past that years after that. But now that you know the name, divorce papers, like,
it's all
why over. You make her unlikable in that? It's like I'm just like, I don't understand why you guys are doing this to Lana, but it sucks.
It does. And Lana has no instincts whatsoever. Because after the second time seeing Kyle and her together, I was like, are you two dating? But of course she can't because, who I'm spending time with is none of your business, Kyle.
No, I'm sure that's not going to be coming back to hurt anybody.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, it's like, are we going to have her and John? It's like almost like, do you guys know where you guys are going? I mean, like, we're going to have all these people knowing, and then, it's going to be Kyle and Chrissy. And then Chrissy somehow, I thought you knew he was Superman. Well, of course I should have known, but you kicked me to the side to make a bad storyline plot. Now I got to be complaining about you. Like,
then he can start whining to Lana. Hey, did you know? Is that why we're no longer together? And I'm gonna hate that. But not
I
this
mean,
episode. I was on board with everybody's subplot. And I love the fact that for a change, Lana didn't go continue on her rant. I can't believe I trusted you and you're out here drinking with the former mayor's son who's grieving his dead daddy. You're terrible. Here going on right now. Like, I was
Lana,
like, thank you for letting
yeah,
Lana have an modicum of growth here.
yeah, it's like, Lana, don't, like, if she's not drinking, if she's chugging the whole thing, and then by, Mom, give me the keys, woohoo! Like, yeah, all right. But if she's like actually talking to the guy and just randomly has it, like, okay, you actually probably came with me since I'm the mayor of the town, and the best thing I got to do tonight is chaperone a dance. Like, I might be the one drove you in there because you don't have a boyfriend because we needed to bring you and Jonathan up for reasons still not known to any of us.
You said Jordan.
I'm sorry, Jordan. Like,
yeah.
What was that? I mean, like, other than, oh, well, teenagers break up. Yeah. But if you do, why am I supposed to care about these people?
I wish she'd hang out with Sophie more.
Who? Whoa. Oh, yeah, the extra back there.
Yeah. And so Lana decides that rather than dragging the name of the dead mayor through the mud, thankfully, you know what, Christy, just kill the story. Thank you, because that was going to be awful. Not necessary at all. So she didn't do that. And then Superman's fighting Deadline. I wish they get a little bit more fun and creative with these supervillain costumes. They're kind of just black and just
gray,
lost in the, like, even the Mannheim's main goon. It's like they just have some drab costumes. I just wish you a little pop of color in there. Well, let's talk about the Bruno and Lois arc and the whole treatment at the cancer ward.
You mean the best part of the show?
I mean, it was awesome. But it was really good. I mean, it was
like the Superman that was standing part of the main arc. Like, that was really good. I like, and I'm trying to say, I do not read his name. His real name is, but him as Bruno Mannheim is like actually just not being a bad guy.
Chad L. Coleman, Walking Dead.
Yeah, I actually started following him on Instagram. Like, oh yeah, man, like, sure, I'll follow you. But it's just like he's giving somebody who I've never known as a character. He's like, hey, I'm a different version of him, so let me have some depth to him. Like, he's not just some one note bad guy head of Intergame. It's like, no, I decided to make something, and did I do some questionable things to get to where it's better for most people? Yeah, I made some. It's like, but I'm not going to tell you that questionable thing. But the
promises were made, deals were exchanged.
It's like, it's going to be interesting seeing where they go with a Lex Luthor character.
Yeah, I'm very curious about that.
Because it's like they tried to tease like Lex coming later on in the season, but it's like, well, doesn't Bruno Mannheim do the exact same job now? Like,
I'm kind of happy with Bruno.
Not sexy part of Metropolis. He's building up the new condos in Brooklyn. You know, what's wrong about that? So
yeah,
not having like a Lex Luthor coming out of jail. It's like, okay, I mean, you guys have done a pretty good storyline. Does that mean less time for the teenagers if it comes? Sure, sign me up for it.
Sign me all the way up. Now I can use that pen. But yeah, I love that story because it gave him a reason to be human, as opposed to just I'm the big villain and everything I do is just terrible and awful. Like, he has a motive. Well, my mom we lived next to a chemical plant. She got cancer and no one cared about the people in this area. And, he didn't make a big deal of because we're black. He was just like, nobody cared about us. And she died. So I'm making sure everybody in my community is taken care of. And it's like, wow, that's actually a pretty noble thing to do. And even Lois is like, I want to hate, but I can't hate. She's like, I'm bringing this dude down.
Like, when at the end of it, you're going to almost be like, yeah, I get it was bad, but
yeah,
we're facing like this stuff. Who's going to take over that role of it's like, that's what's going to be very interesting. Like, so I'm like, right now I can't hate on him for doing. It's like, oh, he's got some bad guys that are trying to take on Superman. Yeah, but
killing people.
Yeah, I mean, his end game is, it's almost like he's gonna need some diabolical in game to make it turn on him. Like, oh yeah, whatever. You should go to jail.
Yeah.
Like, they gotta thread that one, and they've done a good enough job. Like with making was it Ali Alstein from last season. So now I didn't think they were gonna make like they made it a very good their version of Parasite. I'm like, okay, I hope y'all can come up with the way to turn us like kind of he's a little gray bad guy to make him. Yeah, he's in this wrong column. So we got
I mean, I feel like what they did in this one was create a little. Well, maybe he's not that bad. Who cares about these random soldiers and people these goons are killing?
He's bringing out people from the dead. What's so bad about that?
We didn't really like the mayor anyway. So it's just, I love what they're doing right now. Yeah. And
that mysterious character is going to be. I'm wondering to see what they do with that person.
Yeah. There's so many cool, interesting directions they're taking with the show in general. And I'm like, okay, I'm here all the way for it. Keep it going. And if you can make the teen subplots like this quality, this show is going to be so much better. I have a sneaky suspicion that's not going to be the case because teens, CW, but yeah. Now let's talk about Superman. Tyler Hoechlin is amazing as Superman. I wish they could just CGI some extra height and some muscles because I'd say James Gunn need not look any further. This is your Superman. Right here. Don't pass go. He's Superman. Because every time he gets to be Clark Kent, he's really, really good. When he's not playing the role, he's just being regular guy Clark Kent. He's awesome. And his Superman is convincing. It's just like, this guy is so good at Superman. And I don't know if they could have cast a better actor for this role than him at this point because he's so good. Like, he's really empathetic. He mans up and kind of gets that whole, like, oh, he's the most powerful superhero around when he's fighting. But they're coming up with some cool ways to make him hurt, like with that kryptonite shiv, where it wasn't enough to have him going, oh, like every episode of the first season of Justice League.
Oh gosh, I'm not 10 weeks.
Hawk Girl, if you can save the day, that'd be awesome. He's got a little. There's that Deadline's got a shiv, and he's slicing up Superman, making him cut, making him bleed. Do you bleed? And that's really cool the way they did that. And he still fighting him. I need to know what the overtime was on the guys who had to dig Deadline out of the wall, though.
Oh gosh, man, you just using some lasers and putting them in the cell. Like, we ain't doing all that. I think it is actually a testament how good he was at the role. It was like they probably in Supergirl, they're like, all right, we got to mention Superman because it's getting obvious that we're having this, cloud over Superman, and it's looking pretty lame that we keep trying to pull this off. So then you cast him, and like, wow, this dude's really good. Like, can we get him back another episode?
Right.
Wow, this kid's really good. You got a show for him? Sure, I think we can make that happen. Like,
right.
It's like, yeah. Oh, and we can now kick him to a whole new world where we don't have to mention Supergirl? Brilliant! Like,
he hasn't mentioned Supergirl at all, has he?
No, Supergirl, no. This is a whole other world, and this Superman never went to Earth Prime.
Ah, okay. Thank you.
Yes, that's how they get around. But general technology that lets them know there's a multiverse.
Right. Even though Lois told him to come home for the twins on that Earth.
That was in the other Earth, and that was that Superman, not the real Superman. Yeah. Yeah. But I think they've done he's done a really good job, and again, I'm like, it's funny. I think they've done a very good job of casting Superman
and Lois.
I think everyone, and Lois. I think they've done a really good job, and it's like, okay, guys. Well, I'm always gonna say I don't know if Kate Bosworth was not the way to go on Superman Returns, but I think now it's like, okay, you guys have to figure out the right actor who's going to be around for 10 years and stick with him, and you're going to get a lot of second decimals. Like when you see, like, all right, I'm going to compare him to Tyler. Like, I mean, it's like, I'm going to take Henry and I'm going to compare him to Tyler. If he fails that test, it's like, you guys, that was on you guys. You had two options that you could have used.
Two great options. like
you
chose the one without the nut underneath.
Yeah,
Oh
that's like
man.
that was on you guys. Like, oh, well, we wanted to go younger. Did anyone ask? Did I say I was watching Gotham Knights that I have not watched a minute of? No, get
Yeah.
lost.
I feel like Superman's a character you can go 30. I mean, what was Chris Evans when they cast him in Captain America? He wasn't like 20.
I mean, Chris Evans, honestly, I don't know what he still looks like. He's a still in shape dude who's probably in his 40s now.
All right, let's see.
Huh.
So I'm curious. He's 41.
Yeah.
So let's see. Captain America was 2011.
When was Fantastic Four?
2005, I want to say.
Yeah. So
That's beyond my quick math abilities. 24, you said? Thank you. Thank you. So,
maybe you're right, actually.
but yeah, so he wasn't 19, and let's go with him for the next 20 years. You just get somebody who looks youthful and can keep that up and follows the regimen and all that good stuff. And I'm just like, gosh.
I know I was talking about Mark Wahlberg is 51 and still in really good shape. Like, you just basically have to have the guy who's like, hey, what role do you need me to play? Okay, I need to play that role. Tell me when I need to get in touch with the trainer. Because Chris Hemsworth still looks like he's big enough to play Thor's. Like, give him a month, he'll eat and do what he needs
Exactly.
to.
Henry Cavill's 39 and Tyler Hoechlin is 41.
Okay.
So maybe by that criteria they need to go younger, but sheesh, they're those are two strong options. So hopefully whoever they get will be as good. All right, let's switch up to Marvel real fast before we wind this bad boy down.
Gotcha.
So James Gunn is doing promotional rounds for Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, already being proclaimed one of the best comic book movies since Endgame. You know, they're making it sound like we're going to lose a couple Guardians, and we're at this tricky point before the movie comes out where people who've seen it are like, let me tell you everything that happened and everything. You know, it's just like, please don't be that dude, that lady, them posting about everything that's coming out from the movie. Let us all get a chance to watch it. But James Gunn mentioned during promotional rounds that some stuff happened in Avengers Infinity War that he didn't like. Now, if I could put it out to you, what do you think is the main thing that James Gunn didn't like about the way the Guardians are portrayed?
Gamora dying.
No. See, I would have thought that would have been it too.
Okay.
I'll give you one more guess.
I give you Peter Quill's kind of. I'm trying to find the nice words of saying simping, but him being a little more reckless with the beating Thanos. Like, he kind of came off as really dumb, not like, because even when he was like, all right, you guys go right and I go left, he's like, that was kind of not
that consistent with the other two Guardian films where no one really listened to him.
Well, I mean, in the second one they did a little bit. I mean, Rocket was the only one going rogue, but everybody else was like, whatever. Like,
Groot was a teenager now.
What was, because
his was that, if Gamora asked him to, he would have killed her. And he didn't think that, or he wouldn't have had Star-Lord be the reason that Thanos was able to get away and get the gem. But I think that was perfectly consistent with Peter Quill, who'd seen his mother die, was also afraid of what. I mean, he's very much like Anakin in that sense. He watched his mother die, and then the woman that he loved, because he was just hooking up with random chicks, but he loved Gamora, and he found out that she was dead. Or he was like, you need to tell me that she's not dead, because I want to beat you down until I figure it out.
I mean, remember, he also is not just not
he
knowing
lost
he's lost ego. He found out who his father is.
Yep.
He's dead. Then he actually loses the man who is surrogate father.
Yep.
So not knowing how long that gap is, it's like, hey, I'm losing people I actually love. Like, that's probably like, and like that would be like, no, like you can't tell me another person I love is dead and not coming back. Like,
yeah. Because I mean that felt very much on brand in line with things that Peter Quill would do, especially in that circumstance,
Mm-hmm.
where it's like, whoa, wait a second, what's happened? And he's not thinking. And the whole point is he's not thinking clearly. And it's that close. But all Thanos needed was that close of a moment to change, turn the tide and just wipe out everybody.
Yeah, because he's got just that little, he's in this moxie state, like, haha, I got you. And then he's just like, no, you didn't. What do you mean? Just that little bit of doubt, and then it starts creeping and creeping and creeping. So I think it's probably more of them like, yeah, I wouldn't want my guy to be the one. Like, if it was Iron Man, somebody, John Favreau, I'm like, yeah, I'd rather not have been John Favreau. I'd rather not been Iron Man. I'd rather not be Tom Holland. Somebody like
Ryan Coogler goes, I don't think T'Challa would have done that.
Yeah, exactly. Like, well, I mean, you had the Soul Stone, and I really don't think he's going to trade that for Wakanda. So,
yeah. And then Paul Bettany and Josh Whedon are like, well, no, I don't think Vision or Scarlet Witch would have done that. I know it needed to be somebody. Star-Lord was the perfect choice for that, and it made sense. And going back to Doctor Strange, he went through all those thousands and thousands of combinations of how to beat Thanos. He didn't have one, and that was the best choice, because maybe in every other scenario, Peter Quill was grabbing his leg, and that was the plan. And this one had him go rogue, and that was the one they needed to beat him ultimately in the end.
Yeah. It's like, yeah, and also he gets redeemed enough. I mean, you can always have him grow enough in another movie to actually deal with the repercussions of what he did. And it's like, most of everything I did got returned to normal. But this one thing that I really wanted before, like it was before, cannot be, and I got to deal with the consequences.
He was the one that lost more than anybody else.
Yeah, it's like, so I'm not so much. It's funny, as we were saying how the Flash trailer was good because it gave me a story. Guardians trailer gives me nothing. It tells me absolutely no reason why I'm spending money other than this is the last Guardians. Like, Marvel, you guys used to be great on trailers.
They did.
You suck on trailers right now. Like, just 100% suck on trailers. You're just Marvel. Pay money. No, that was phase 1. You could do that. Phase 2, phase 3, yes, you could just say money. Okay, here you go. Here's my card.
Here's all.
Now whoa. I'm watching Eternals. Hold on that part.
Phase 4 and phase 5 have been like, hey, what you putting in on this? What you putting on this player? You got that $10?
You got that $10? Like, it's not gonna happen just like straight, like it's Guardian, because I'm like, I know part of me says, oh yes, there's Guardians, I want to go see it, but I'm also like, I don't know anything about this movie.
Well, I think the only thing they're saying that I'm really not feeling is one of these guys that you've invested and cared so much about is gonna get killed, and I don't want to see that.
But the problem is, like, it's an ever-changing team. It's like the whole team could die, but technically Guardians can live on. Like, I don't even, like, the weird thing is, like, after part 2, you tease Adam Warlock. You see like 2 seconds of Adam Warlock in the trailer if you're looking real hard. It's like, why are we talking about, Adam Warlock's motivation in this movie? Like, is he going to get revenge on the Guardians? Like, and then at least I'll buy in. Like, okay, that's what I'm starting at. Okay, cool. Now you got this other guy who I think is a big character in the comic book. I don't know who the heck he is. And he's going to kill the Guardians. Like, why? I don't, like, the Guardians ain't done nothing. Like, were they the ones who stopped Thanos? Like, you got to give me reasons to put my money down. And they're not giving me just his Guardians. Like, nah, it's not working anymore. Come back to the reality. That's not going to happen anymore.
Yeah. All right. Well, it's that magical time of the week, dear brother. Who's your nominee for Dummy of the Week?
I do not have a Dummy of the Week this week. Of course, tomorrow night at the NFL draft, I'm sure somebody's going to be called Dummy of the Week. They're going to make one of those decisions like, did you agree with Mel Kiper too much? Bad call.
Did you
find Marcus Buckles can't miss? Ooh.
He absolutely can't miss.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know if this is a real Dummy of the Week, but I feel bad for Tamara Morrison he was asked about the absence of Boba Fett. And he said, I was supposed to be in The Mandalorian season 3, but nobody rang me. I was waiting for the phone call in New Zealand, waiting and wanting to give up. And then he was saying that, hey, in the Book of Boba Fett, the Mandalorian episode, he said that Mando guy stole a few chapters of my book. It was painful watching him turn up with some black new lethal sword. And the way he turned up in my Book of Boba, he's just destroyed everybody. I'm sure this guy's ruining my show, but I couldn't say anything. I'm not the writer, so I have to bear it, I guess. So, I'm finding it hard to disagree with him because the best episode of Book of Boba Fett was the one that featured Mandalorian, Din Djarin, and had Luke Skywalker. It's like, sorry, man.
You really call that dumb? He just spoke the truth. I think it's like, and I think another aspect is like, is the Book of Boba Fett the Boba Fett we knew? This dude is just cool and not ruthless bounty hunter killer. He's been changed, but it's like, is that really what we wanted when we heard Book of Boba Fett? We wanted reform Boba Fett. No, I think we wanted almost the anti-Din Djarin, where he's taking shady bounties now that he's back in the world. Maybe he's got, it's like, I know I was watching the video, it's like, there's like been all the like EU extended universe stuff where he's basically running a whole team of Mandalorians. And it's like, yeah, we could have seen that, like, had that clan against Din Djarin's clan in season 3 of Mandalorian, and we would have been okay. That's much better than skateboarding, Vesper neon lights. Like, yeah, that's like,
really,
you're allowed to call a spade. Like, yeah, that was not a good choice. Like, and not to have the first Mandalorian that most of us all knew not in it. It was like, that was a miss. So I don't say that's a dummy. He's saying, I say it's just.
Well, maybe I'm thinking maybe the dummy of the week is whoever was like, nah, we don't need him to show up. Because I feel like if anybody needed a little polishing up from their Disney Plus show, it was Boba Fett, who I think a lot of people kind of were like, that wasn't very good.
That's not my Boba.
I liked it just fine. But
that's not my Boba.
Yeah, a lot of people weren't really feeling it. So, well, Bro Shot, as always, thank you. Now it's time to go watch this episode of The Flash to determine if it's going to be this best episode of the season or maybe one of the best of the series post season 2 because they're in short supply. But we'll find out. And now we got to make sure we turn on our draft hats. I will put mine on Friday when my team decides to make its first selection. Pick number 99. Hopefully we don't trade anybody I care about beforehand just to get into the early rounds to make things exciting.
Well, we'll be there watching Seattle use our number 1 overall pick. We're gonna be like, congratulations.
Maybe that should have been your dummy. All right. Well, thank you so much as always, Bro Shot. Thank you all there for watching and listening. This episode of Lyle's Movie Files has been